that these goals focus on the overall needs that we have in our lives, and they align with our values and our priorities. And I really like style based goals because they really allow us a little bit more wiggle room in life in what we're doing. So the disadvantages are lack of specificity and some measurables. So another way to set a goal is to have very specific goals. And the advantages here are that these are measurable. They provide clear benchmarks for success and allow you to track your progress objectively. But I can say the downside of this is that this can add a little bit more stress, and you may lose sight of the larger picture in your life. So, what's better here? Well, what's key is that you work with your personality and what works best for you, because that's how you're going to be most successful. So you can choose lifestyle goals or specific goals, or just use a hybrid of both. I like to look at my New Year's resolutions as part of my mission and my vision on a very personal level. So when I modulate my health and my wellness goals, it really allows me to be more physically and mentally available in the things that I do and the things that are most important to me. So what I want to talk about today is the best way to speak to yourself and to speak to your brain to make all of this possible, whether it's a New Year's resolution or not. So, we've heard a lot from researchers in this area, and the truth of it is that your brain can process both positive and negative language. But here's the difference. Positive language can activate the reward system in the brain, releasing dopamine and creating feelings of pleasure and motivation. Unconscious competence can best be achieved when you speak to yourself with positive language as well as your own love language. And this is key, you guys, your own love language when you're speaking to reach your inner vessel and yourself, because that's how you will become more responsive to any type of a goal that you're going to set. So if you choose to use negative language, what that does is that really activates the amygdala in the brain, which is just the fear center. And potentially that's just a way to shut yourself down. So lifestyle goals may take some additional gamification just to keep our reward circuitry primed for long-term success. So something that I like to do with a loved one, a family member, a close friend is celebrate on a quarterly basis. Have fun. You can refresh your goals a bit if you'd like to. But when you do this, what you're doing is you're cementing in your subconscious and your conscious efforts. And I know sometimes there's dinners where my husband and I are just relishing in how well we have been, how resistant, to the flu season, to the colds or COVID or what have you. And we really kind of have a lot of fun with this subject. So when I make yearly goals, I like to speak to myself using my love language. And for me, that is abundance, along with using a very calm and soothing voice to really reach my inner self. And something that I would invite all of you to do is to play with this and play with what might work with you best. But what you'll find is that this activity can unlock many other personal growth activities in your life. My goal this year, which I can easily visualize as I say it, is to add in more spirituality, water, veggies, movement, and to have much more fun this year. So my takeaway today is to keep your goals simple, keep them fun, and love language yourself into a healthy and connected year. More in 2024.
More spirituality, more fun, and water. And you just think about the toxicity of which I'm talking about, Renee, just let it flow on through, and truly, what beautiful. I mean, fun, celebrate, self-talk, you name it. That is really, and we can set benchmarks quarterly. And the benchmark, I've got to say, beautiful talk. I've just got to say, Dr. Glenn, before I bring you up, how absolutely delighted I am that you said yes for being in our second book with Healthopedia. I said it's 38 women with 2 enlightened healing doctors, and that includes the healthy hormone doctor and the happy hormone doctor. And I think it's healthy and happy with goals in 2024. So we're just going to take a brief view of what we're doing here with Healthopedia Women's Essence. So which pillar are you? Which does it speak to you from your inside your soul? A women's book is going to be very, very pink. So write your story with us. Dr. Khalila Camacho Ali, and we have started. We're only a weekend, so we've got plenty of time. But what Dr. Khalila is going to be doing, and we're taping it this weekend, is that she's going to be having little weekly vignettes with us. She is going to be actively there in Boca. She is receiving, along with the greatest of all time, Les Brown, will be together to receive the Lifetime Achievement Awards in Health. What she did for her husband and making him the greatest when he was in a jail cell and kept his training up. That is the power of a woman. Thinking about what Les has done to say, oh, this cancer ain't got me. 25 years later, he's not only surviving, but he's thriving. That is really a health story. So that's what's happening in Boca along. And like I said, there's room that you can be a part of 2.0. Let's have a cup of Kalila. She loved my lentil soup as she's holding my solo book. But you see who has joined us is the Dr. Glenn. And I tell you what, I'm so happy. I'm so happy that you said yes. I can't even get over myself. So the next 10 minutes is yours, Glenn. Just tell us what you got about healthy and happy goal setting.
Oh, absolutely. And thank you for having me. This is a great subject, because you think of the beginning of every year. What is really the number one New Year's resolution every year for people, and it's to lose weight. And isn't it interesting that almost the same people every year have the same New Year's resolution? I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to lose weight. And what most people do is they make a commitment to changing some action in their life. So maybe they're going to go to the gym 5 days a week, and maybe they're going to eliminate maybe simple carbohydrates from their diet. They're going to stop drinking soda, but they're picking these actions, and then they want the actions that lead to results. And the results are that they actually release weight, right? And what typically happens, for anybody who goes to a gym, that the busiest week of the year is the first week of January. So the people make the commitment, I'm going to go for 5 days a week. And then by the second week, they're going 4 days. The third week, they're going maybe 2 days. By the end of the month, they're not going to the gym anymore. And by the way, they did give up some foods for a few weeks, and they just go back into doing the same thing. And it's because we have this problem, I believe, in our culture is we want to do everything consciously. Like Renee brought it up perfectly when she was talking about the difference between the conscious and the subconscious mind. So most people are trying to take a new action to get a new result. And it simply just doesn't work because that's all conscious mind. To really even understand is that, the conscious mind is really dictating approximately 0.006% of what's going on in our life, whereas the subconscious mind is really dictating 99.994% of what's going on in our life. And so if you're just making, these goals and intentions for the year, and you're only doing it consciously, my response to that is always, well, good luck with that. Yeah, because it fails miserably for almost everybody. And I just, this is my own personal belief, is that the people who have the really, really strong willpower to do something consciously long enough, they create a new pattern. but that's probably only matching those same statistics. That's probably about 0.006% of the people who will be actually successful at it. So what I love everybody to think about is think of the aspects of your subconscious mind that will be holding you back. So we have to think of things like your identity, your beliefs, your values, and then your potential for learning. So again, if you think about it, like the average person who's overweight, what is their identity? And think about this for yourself. If you feel that you're overweight and you get out of the shower and you're standing in front of your mirror in your bathroom completely naked and you look in the mirror, what do you say to yourself? If you're overweight, you probably say something like, I am fat. That becomes an identity, right? So, and then what is it that you really, what do you value? Maybe when you start to think of food, you might value price and convenience. So if you value price and convenience, where are you typically going to go and purchase your food? You're going to get fast food that's cheap and quick, right? And then think of, well, where are your beliefs? Well, maybe your beliefs are that, oh, my parents were heavy, so I'm going to be heavy, or there's nothing I could really do for it because this is all tied into DNA and genetics. Well, if that's your belief, that's going to again lead you down that same path. And then the big thing, I always feel like the bridge between the subconscious mind and the conscious mind is just really your potential for learning. So when you learn about the things like Renee just said, and what Bill's going to bring up, and what I'm saying right here, this is a part of your potential in learning. You're learning new things today. So what I want you to really recognize is that if you made a New Year's resolution that you're going to lose weight, and you've tied it solely into taking action, you're probably going to fail. So look at it from the perspective, rather than looking in a mirror and saying that I am fat and making that your identity. Create a new identity. Your identity is that I am a healthy vessel. And really the identity is anything that comes after the words I am. So if you say I am a healthy vessel, you can actually use that identity to create change. And if your value for food is price and convenience, maybe shift your value into I value the energy I get from my food, physically, mentally, emotionally. That'll change where you're going to go and buy your food. And then with your beliefs, rather than having a belief that my parents were heavy, so I'm going to be heavy, or that I'm a victim of my DNA, have a belief that recognizing with DNA has to be, this DNA has to be turned on or can be turned off. So it's all tied into epigenetics. So you can have a belief that regardless of what my DNA is, I can actually change this. I can change the expression of it. Or you can have a belief that I'm going to be the one person in my family that has the ability to be different from a weight perspective than the rest of my family. And then all of this leads into your potentials. This is where you just have to learn new things, right? There's so many people who there's so little knowledge that's generally taught about nutrition that there's almost like countless levels of things you can learn about nutrition, as well as there's countless levels you can learn about what's going on in the subconscious mind. It's a big thing that Renee talks about all the time. And I love how Dr. Bill always kind of ties in the physical body, as he always says, that meat suit, with also what's going on energetically. And I believe that these are the big things that you really have to look at. So remember, pay attention to what do you say to yourself? I am what, right? And sometimes people, when I say, an identity of I am fat, they're like, oh, that's kind of rude. Well, nobody stands in front of the mirror and says, oh, I am a little plump or I'm a little chubby. No, you stand in front of the mirror and you say, I am fat, right? So just own what it is that you're saying to yourself and recognize that you can make a new choice. And the last thing I'll bring up before I get the hook and pull me off stage here is also think about what motivates you. People are motivated by either toward motivation or away motivation. And more people than not that I've seen are motivated by away motivation. So if you're, as an example of this, is if you're overweight and you have an event coming up, like maybe a spring wedding, and the away motivation is I have to get away from that heavy weight because I have to fit into a dress. And away motivation can get you started, and to have long-term success, at some point you want to shift into a toward motivation as well. So you can use something away motivated to get you going, but at some point, rather than saying, hey, I have to be this weight on this date, well, what happens when you reach that weight on that date? You go back to what you were initially doing. But if you can then at some point shift into a toward motivated of, I want to feel awesome physically, mentally, emotionally, energetically every day of my life moving forward, that's something you continue moving forward to on a consistent basis. And if you can kind of tie in what Renee's saying with some of these tips, and I'm sure whatever magnificent piece of advice that Dr. Bill is going to give you, I'm sure that will give you a really great step moving forward to create the best year of your life, which is this year.
And I'll tell you something. See, Glenn, I didn't even need to give you the hook. You were just perfect. And I know I am a microphone Nazi. I know I am. But thank you for loving me through that. I love that. I've never heard that. Away and toward, away and towards. And that really fits when we say, and I say, health isn't something you do, it's what you become. The toward motivation is what you become along life's journey. And so we're going to take a little commercial break before I bring Dr. Bill back. But I'm going to say, when you said your potential and your learning, and that just, you didn't know that you felt so in to when we talk about the process, because that's what Dr. Jim is going to be talking about. What are we going to be doing in Boca? Well, I said the process is the foundational house. It's the beams, it's the roof, it's the foundation. Dr. Jim, in the experience, will be doing the drywall. We as speakers, we're just being the paint or the wallpaper. So let's take a look, take a listen to what is the process. And then we have a brand new landing page, and you can go and get one of those last few tickets. I think they will be gone this week. I feel it. And so if this speaks to you, make sure one of them is yours. Let's take a look, take a listen to Dr. Jim and the process.
The main reason I believe people's health is declining globally is because they don't do the things every day that they need to maintain themselves. They don't walk enough, they don't get enough nutrients, they accumulate way too much stress. They don't expose themselves to nature. They work under artificial lights that damage the rods and cones of their eye, their brain, disturb functions of their liver. Everybody wants to be free from disease, and they want to enjoy a long and happy life. At the Personal Performance Institute, we teach you how to do exactly that. It starts right in the beginning. The very first things you'll do, which are simple instructions, will improve your health, and they will make you feel better about yourself. Not believe that you feel better about yourself, but actually feel better about yourself. That's what the Personal Performance Institute can do for you.
And that's what the Personal Performance Institute. And I've just got to give Dr. Jim some love, because it is 40 years ago this next month in February that, as a 33-year-old man, he was the Olympic team physician, put together some bobsledders and some luge people that were really broken up. And he got them to win the silver and the bronze medal, first in the US. So that's what we're going to be doing. But speaking of experts, the meat suit, and I'm noticing in the back chat, we're even coming up with new medical words. You guys never seem to absolutely surprise or inspire me. Dr. Bill, I know there's going to be some kind of unconscious, competent, taking it to the next level of what you're going to deliver, because that's what you do. So, Dr. Bill, the next 10 minutes is yours. Just do your thing.
Well, you know what? It was funny. We were joking because I was going to say, well, Glenn stole my notes. And then last month, and Dr. Jim and everybody else had stole my notes. But what that shows is that congruency. So when you get a group of experts together saying the same thing, kind of perk your ears up and say, oh, I heard that once. It sounds good. If you hear it twice, maybe I should pay a little bit of attention. If you hear it 3 times, just pay attention and go to it, because it's probably a well thought out framework. And what I was talking about before was, I was saying, oh, Glenn stole my notes. We are in the same office. And one of the reasons what I think we work so well together is because of that congruency in our thought process. Glenn is there's nobody on earth that has a better understanding of the female hormone systems from a natural perspective than Glenn Depke. And so you have that expertise that's going on in that. And then so when I have a patient that I'm working with movement, I need that higher level of nutritional knowledge, and I send them to Glenn, I know that we're going to stay in the same framework of how to get their goals. And so that's not just about New Year's resolution. This is a perfect time to do it because it's in everybody's top of mind, because like Glenn said, and like Renee said, this is the time everybody, well, it's time, it's January, it's time to lose weight and get in the gym and get rich again. It's like Christmas time when, it's December, time to feed the homeless. We can do this all year round, but we got to get that perspective. There's no reason why there has to be a certain time, but since it is top of mind, we've got to go, why, like Glenn stole from my notes that I wrote originally, was why are the same people having the same goals year after year? It's because there's no loss of knowledge. How to is so simple now. You Google it, you tell chat to tell you what to do, you can do anything that you want, but until you actually take the action to do so consistently, it's not going to happen. And that gap between what we know what we do, we know what we want, to actually getting it done consistently so it changes, so there's momentum on that, you're always going to fail. That is why, like this year, January 12th was National Quitters Day. So the second Friday of every year in January is the day when 80% of the people will quit their New Year's resolution, because they don't really resolve to do it. Resolve means to release, cut off from. There's nobody. I've resolved this. It's done. I think most people go, I wish, and then they get their little whatever their crystal ball is that they believe is going to get them, a motivational speaker or a new supplement or some new light for pants to wear to the gym, to show up, to walk around. But there's nothing really behind it that's going to make it stick. And the other thing Glenn stole from me that my lawyers will be contacting him soon was the whole thing that's going to change you and move the needle is your identity. Glenn was right on, again, from my notes, but it's about who you believe you are, because the brain and the mind will do more to support your identity than it will your goals. So if you believe I'm a fatty, I've always been a fatty, I was picked last in school, they picked on me, woe is me, and you just happen to release the weight for a little while, your identity is that I'm still overweight, I'm still the fatty, I'm still not enough. Until you change that, you will not have the actions taken long enough to support your new identity. And your new identity you need to step into. And this is all mindset up, but you need to be very clear on what you want. And when you want something, if we go from the mind perspective, is a want and a desire, and that's a burning thing. That's our hero's journey, where we get out and we have this call to adventure, something that you're thrust into. You have to, something that's really burning inside of you, and we want it, and we're going to go. Neurologically, what that is, you're releasing dopamine. People get dopamine all messed up a lot. They think dopamine is it's the feel-good hormone that gets you going, and it's the thing that's the result of wanting something. And that's not dopamine's job at all. Dopamine is a hormone that gets you going. So whatever you want is not where you are because you're not satisfied. That's why you want it. If you had it, then you wouldn't want it. But it goes back to whatever I want is over there. I want to lose weight. I have to do this. I want to get fit. It's over there. I want to get rich. It's over there. And it's the buildup of that anxiety that we have that wants us to move forward. When we feel good, that's a serotonin thing. That is the feel good. That's the love. That's, when we release our oxytocin and we feel good about who we are. So you need both of those things to have your brain. So first we have to use our mind and our want. This is your spiritual portion. This is when we have all sunshine, rainbows, and unicorns that are going inside. Because most of the time when we're starting out a goal, you're usually not, your legs are not burning and you're not out of breath and you can't catch your breath and you're sweating your teeth. That's not usually the time when you set your goals. Those are the times when your mind tells you, we should quit about now. This is uncomfortable. I'm not really happy here. And that's exactly where you need to be when you set your goals, because the reason that most people quit is because they get uncomfortable. And when we realize that uncomfortable in setting our goals is how you grow. I've never had one, but I'm going to assume that it's not real comfortable having a baby. But is it worth it? I bet it's not real comfortable to work 80 hours a week when you're starting a new business or a new job to get some finances, to get some momentum going so that you feel like you have it. It's not uncomfortable, but it's worth it. It's not comfortable to go get up and go to the gym every day. And so we need to have these things, understanding that, there's going to be some uncomfortable, and you need to tie that uncomfortable feeling and then that's all individual. Uncomfortable feeling could be running a triathlon, in the desert. That could be uncomfortable to some people. Some people, being uncomfortable in a high intensity exercise or something is, fill the tub, pull the plug, and fight the current. It's all individual. So it's up to you, but it's those uncomfortable moments that are going to make you grow. So when we're taking the body and the mind, that you got to put them together so that they're in congruency. But it all goes back into your, getting your identity and getting clear on who you want to be and what you want to do. One of the things that I there's always a good housekeeping article or something that says, gardening in the sunshine for 20 minutes is just the same as running 2 marathons back to back. Just go out and do it. Well, they've lowered the bar so much for health and fitness and getting who you want to be, that unfortunately some people are going to go out and believe, well, I just planted some tulips and some roses, so everything should be fine. I'm well on my way to health and fitness. And it's a lie. And because if being thin and fit and rich and everything was easy, then everybody would do it. But if you know that going in, that there's going to be some uncomfortable things going on, and you're coming through this, what happens is that's exactly when you grow your identity. When there's an elimination diet or something that you want to do that's not, it's out of your normal habit, but you're coming back and doing it, and you keep telling yourself, I'm doing it. This is not as good as, sucking down some Ben and Jerry's or something like that, but I'm doing it and every time you do that, you are resetting not only your mindset, but your dopamine levels, the way that they're produced. So that's going to be really good. And then if you take that in a perspective of, Renee did a wonderful thing like that. So one of her things was she was talking about moving more. One of the things that we don't do is we don't move enough. And, I'm all for, the nutrition. That's vitally important to what we're doing. But you have to take that with the movement, because when you're making a physical portion into your meat suit, you need that movement. Bodies are made to move. I mean, do you think that we were intelligently designed to climb trees, run, throw rocks, swim, or sit at a computer and binge watch Netflix? Were we designed to go out and explore and move things and hunt and gather, or were we designed to drive through someplace and give them $5 and get a bag of grease? So we've got to do things that are congruent with our physiology. And that's probably one of the biggest things that we're doing. But one of the things is that we've got to move, and we've got to constantly move. We've got to move our hearts. We've got to move our lungs. We've got to move our bowels. We've got to move our muscle, all this stuff over. Use the things that we've got, and that will reinforce what you're doing for your goals. And it's putting these things both together. And in a mindset going, you've got to have the greater vision of the future. Glenn had it perfectly when he was talking about, what you're moving towards. We've got to have, towards values and away from values. And the away from stuff is that when you say, I'm sick of this. When I take off my clothes and I look in the mirror and I'm just like, you know what? No more. And rather than avoiding those bad feelings, you use them. That's Carl Jung talked about your shadow self and the dark side, and pull it. Those are super powers when they're harnessed properly, because those are anger and fear and getting you moving. And that's the dopamine again. I want something over there now. I'm sick of being here and I'm going over there, and you're running towards them. Well, this is a powerful rocket fuel. And like all rocket fuel, it burns hot and it goes out quickly. So once you're out from that, you have to use those lag indicators or those towards goals. So now I've got movement. Now I have momentum. Now I have more clarity. And you look back for a second and you say, you know what, damn, I'm doing more than I thought I can. And you're reinforcing this new identity that you're going forward. Now that pipe dream that you kind of wanted, you can, some of that fog is lifting and you're getting really clear on the new you. And when you stay focused at that point, just like anything else, GPS, you can go towards that. Now you have the momentum, you have the new habits. Hopefully you're around new people that are going to support that. Mm-hmm. And life is good. And that's how you're going to permanently, and they're not going to even be goals. They're just going to be new you. It's going to become normal. And once it becomes normal, that's the perfect time. You look back, you say, well, hell, I did that. What else can I accomplish? And there's no limit to the human potential. And one of the things, and I'll close with this, is that I don't want to die with potential. I want to die all rusted and beaten up and doing like that till everything is gassed in front of me. So you use that, take what Renee said, perfect stuff that she was putting out. Take the stuff that Glenn stole from me earlier, and then take the stuff that I had to reiterate because he stole my stuff. But just know that it's congruent. So that's my take on goals and getting them done for this 2024 and beyond. Thanks for having me.
Well, Bill, come on. The humor, the delight, because that's all mental mindset. And I'll tell you, I'm looking at this, and I just want you to know, when you're listening to this amazing symposium, we never rehearse, we never plan, because when you're around a community, find yourself a community for your goals. Find like-minded, as Les Brown says, heart-centered, achievement-driven people that care that health isn't something you do, it's what you become. Look at my notes down here. I was taking notes like crazy. It's commitments. It's all the C's. When you have these C's, you can be the best that you can be because you're with these wonderful doctors and Dr. Jody with the C's. Okay, commitment to celebrate. It's that congruency, because the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. Consistency. Yes, consistency is the key to success. You can run a marathon from couch to half marathon, but guess what? You've got to do it every day. That's what the process is. That's what you'll be learning in Boca. And rather not learning, we're experiencing it. But we talked about that clarity. And the clarity is so clear when you put it together with your humor, Bill. You astound me. You make me laugh. You make me ponder and pause. But you know what? Your positivity always comes through. Those are the 3 P's for you. Even though your information was stolen, it was that clear. And I'm going to add the next C, and it's constipation. I've got to either talk about pee or poop, because we're turning over a new leaf, a new year. You've got a new energetic cycle for the next 90 days. Make sure, make sure that you've gone ahead. And as I talk about cleansing, cleansing is my next C. The cleansing of this, yes, I'm going through the pristine clean for 21 days. I'm doing it with 3 really great supplements. L-ornithine, which it helps men a whole lot more with their cardiovascular. You know what I'm talking about, even than women. Then we got L-citrulline and L-taurine. When you put in the L's, your pristine clean will do well. And you know that I believe in a 90-day cycle. Just DM me. I'll give you the information. It's all free. It's all free. Just DM me. You can find that anywhere on Healthopedia 365 or drjody.com. But the most important thing, what I do the first of the year, and it's now been a year since we discovered the mold in this house. Do you know how wonderful it is and peaceful it is to be back in my house? I thank the creator from above. And that spirituality that we're talking, that's another C. With thanking your creator for having the blessings that you have, that will move you towards those weight loss goals. It'll move you to your resolutions. It just makes you move. Being thankful to creator, you will celebrate. You will do all these things. But I'm going to put in the master cleanse. I have done this every single year. This is what made me think. I was a week late this year. I just started it this week. You were saying, Renee, that I look so beautiful and healthy. Well, thank you. I thought it's because I'm doing this master cleanse. It happens every single time. When your liver gets cleansed out, it shows up in your skin. Chinese medical, yin and yang, your liver, your skin. That's what shows up. And frankly, doing the master cleanse, I don't know how long I'm going to do it. I don't put a rigidity. I've done it up to 64 days when I needed it. My body will absolutely let me know. Those are the choices. That's another C. Those are the choices you make. Choose wisely. As my tagline for my Milkshake Monday, life is like a milkshake. Choose your ingredients wisely. What are the choices that you're going to make for you that will be in store for 2024? Choose the master cleanse, because when you do that purge, the constipation will leave, the cleansing will renew and restore, because you're turning over a new calendar year. That's why I do a certain number of cleanses every single calendar, depending on what my body tells me, because I choose to listen, that I will do every 90 days, because you have new blood supply every 90 days and you have a new cells in 6 months. My massage therapist said to me on Monday, he said, so what kind of a cleanse are you doing now? It seems like you're always detoxing. And I said, yes, because detox or tumors, you make a choice. Decide that this is your year to detox, to cleanse, to be committed to yourself, to choose those right things. And moving towards that is motivation unto itself, and celebrate with your creator. That's what I've got to share today. The master cleanse, it's not patented. You just go have some spicy lemonade. You'll be amazed how your pancreas will thank you. Because if you're like I was, had a little extra champagne over the holidays, and it shows up with me because I eat so clean. So this is what you renew, restore. And I will say the last thing about the R is to resolve. A resolution is a compromise between two things, like China and the US. I don't compromise with me. I resolve to do this. I resolve that my New Year's resolution is going to be about me, Jody, this year. You know what? I'm entering my next decade. In 3 weeks, I will be 70. Who knew? Who knew this would happen? Well, the creator of all knew it happened. I'm going to enter a new decade with a new company, a new platform, because Dr. Bill says I just don't retire well. But the idea that you resolve to be your best you, what does that look like? When you take this bevy of information, put it together to resolve, then you can do and be the best that you can be, because you've been with Dr. Talk and these amazing humans, and you've been with Dr. Jody. So I'm going to bring everybody else up on stage and let's have our power minute. This didn't work this time. I'm not sure why. There we go. So Dr. Bill, because you're to the left, and I'm going to say, you can choose the letter. We're playing Health Wheel of Fortune. You can choose the letter C. This has been in a lot. We can choose the letter R, or you can choose the letter M. Go for it. What's your last piece of advice for healthy goal setting?
Choose the letter C, because I want to see the first of all, clarity. Get over there, know exactly where you're going. Constipation, get rid of all the stuff that's holding you back, and consistency. That's going to be the other thing. Go out and do what you need to do. And I'm trying to think of another C. So turn that. It's all about your identity. So
Yes.
Control who you believe you are and who you are, and step into the next portion of your life, the next chapter, the best version of yourself. And people use that phrase a lot, but get serious about what is the best version of you and what does that person have to do, and then just do it.
Just do it. It's that unconscious competence. So Renee, what you were the one that brought up unconscious competence for sure. And all, what is your last piece of wisdom as we go around the pike here?
I like to look at life as course correcting. That just works so beautifully for me, so I can feel the best about who I am and where I'm going. So if my nutrition gets off, my course correct is add more protein. And I'm going to tell you that just does wonders. 5 years ago, I had a lot of grief in my life. I added in more healthy food, and it was just as simple as that. Something I could just easily remember. It's my personal mission and vision, and course correcting is just been a magical way for me to work through health.
My goodness, that is a great tip because you can always readjust. That's what goals are about. The first two letters in goals are GO. Just go towards that. And you were the one that said, Glenn, about going not away but towards. So what is your last piece of wisdom? There's so much.
Okay, I'm going to also pick the C, and it's going to be to choose. So when you have the goal that you're moving toward, choose to be happy about that. Rather than choosing to look at where you're at and create all this, and Renee brought this up earlier, to create all this like suffering about things from the past, look at your future goal and be happy about it. Because when you maintain the happiness and you move toward that, it's already there in your manifestation. You already have it energetically. So choose happiness.
Choose happiness, and choose happy hormone doctor. I've got to say again, I'm so grateful that Dr. Bill, once again, see, all roads lead back to Dr. Bill, whether it's plagiarizing and stealing information, it all goes back to you, Bill, because you were the one that said yes when we started Dr. Talk. You were the first one. You were the one that brought us Dr. Glenn, and just think, now you brought the happy hormone doctor to our next book, Women's Essence 2.0 with Dr. Khalila Camacho Ali. I want to thank you. First, truly, mine is going to be M. And I'll tell you why mine is M. Because you are my M&Ms, whether you're plain or with the nuts. I don't care. You absolutely are my M&Ms because you give me mindset. Yes, mindset and movement. Okay, I'm going to keep it clean for sure. So, are you peanuts? Are you plain? Or are you M&Ms? Because it's just as gooey as chocolate. Being with you on our segments. So, I will say, I've got a little announcement. We will be missing. I was really hoping we could do it on leap year. We only have that once every 4 days. What are you going to leap towards? But we're still going to talk about what are you leaping towards in your social pillar. Because we're getting into spring break, that we're talking about the social pillar of health on March 7th, though, because the big bear after Boca is taking me to some island. I'm not sure where. After Boca, we're just going to probably go to the Virgin Islands someplace and just sit on the beach and celebrate my next 8th decade, which is 7-0. So see us, and you'll see us on what we're saying is it will be on March 7th, I think is the date that I've got here. Yes, it's March 7th. We will be here right back with the social pillar of health. What does it mean to have social health? So until next time, we'll see you in Boca. You know, we'll have another year in review and an event in review. But we've turned this, thanks to Tom Chesser, into we're talking this about the Healthopedia Tour. We'll be in Vail, Colorado, the 18th through the 20th of July. Then we're going to LA on the 14th through the 16th in November. After the election, we're going to need a real positive thing for health. So until next time, whether you're here or there and everywhere, just remember that you're going to make this the best that you can be in this new year. You've seen Dr. Talk with Dr. Glenn, Dr. Bill, CEO Renee, and Dr. Jody. So let's say for right now, make it a healthy, healthopedia kind of day. Ciao for now.